Hi, welcome to the other 167. For a short meditation, I have taken a topic, the power of storytelling. We see such a beautiful story that is told in the Old Testament of the Bible, the book of 2 Samuel chapter 12. This was told by a prophet called Nathan to King David. The story goes on like this. There were two men in a certain town, one rich and the other poor. The rich man had a very large number of sheep and cattle, but the poor man had nothing except one little ewe lamb he had bought. He raised it and it grew up with him and his children. It shared his food, drank from his cup, and even slept in his arms. It was like a daughter to him. Very interesting story. The prophet goes on to say, verse 4, Now a traveler came to the rich man, but the rich man refrained from taking one of his own sheep or cattle to prepare a meal for the traveler who had come to him. Instead, he took the ewe lamb that belonged to the poor man and prepared it for the one who had come to him. This was the story, very simple. And what is the response of the king, David? David burned with anger against the man and said to Nathan, As surely as the Lord lives, the man who did this must die. It is a judgment. He must pay for that lamb 4 times over because he did such a thing and had no pity. That was the time. Proper response was there from the king. Nathan the prophet told the king like this in verse 7. Nathan said to David, You are the man. You are the man. The 3 points I would like to bring out from effective storytelling. 1. The message is communicated easily and effectively. We know the background of the story that the whole of Israel had gone to war and the king was alone in the palace. One evening, David got up from his bed and walked around on the roof of the palace. From the roof, he saw a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful. And David sent someone to find out about her. The man said, She's Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite. So David sends some messengers and brings her to the palace. She becomes pregnant, and then David goes on to commit the second crime. He wanted to get rid of the husband of the woman, Uriah, and he places him in the front line of the battle to be got killed, and he accomplishes. So we see here the adultery and the killing by the righteous man David. When Nathan told like this, there was a desired effect. The message is communicated very clearly to the king through a powerful storytelling. Point number 2, the hearer is able to think dispassionately. We see here, when David heard the story, he judged the whole episode and said, The man who did this must die. There is no confrontation here. The prophet was putting David in the picture indirectly and bringing about a judgment. And it was rational thinking. So hearer, through a powerful storytelling, is able to think rationally, unemotionally, and dispassionately. And the 3, we have the desired effect through powerful storytelling. We know in the Psalm 51, which David wrote just after he sinned, Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love. According to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. Wash away all my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. This was the confession. Wash away all my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my transgressions. My sin is always before me. And then he goes on to say, verse 7, Cleanse me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. And then David's prayer like this in Psalms 52, Create in me pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Do not cast me from your presence or take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of salvation and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. So I conclude here. There are 3 points I brought out through effective storytelling. The message is communicated not when the speaker speaks, but when the hearer grasps the message. That's when the message is clearly communicated. And it happens through powerful storytelling, as we see here. 2, the hearer is able to think dispassionately, and David was able to think. The 3, we have the desired effect. David confessed his sins to the Lord and asked his pardon. So I close here. May God help us to be effective communicators of what we want to communicate, and let the hearers be blessed with what we see. And even through powerful storytelling, God bless us with this verse. Thank you.